Hey everybody, Matt Lawton here. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and we're going to take a look at the astrological weather forecast for the week of October 12th through the 18th. And we are in for a dense week of energy in the densest month of energy in a very dense year of energy. So we're still in the middle of that big apex month here, October, where anything goes. And this week is just packed full of energy. The Mercury going retrograde, a new moon triggering all the planets in Capricorn that have been the drivers of this year, and also involved with the Mars retrograde conjunct Eris. So a lot of stuff happening this week, and really the easiest, most mellow day of the week is going to be today, Monday. The most dominant theme today is the Mercury sextile Venus, which is really sweet. You know, it's a very light-hearted, friendly, happy kind of aspect where people really connect with one another, are able to express their feelings really well, are into being into beautiful surroundings, relaxing themselves, into art, leisure type pursuits, being out in nature, recreational trips. But it's interesting though, because Mercury is standing still in Scorpio at this point too, so like really can get like some really deep conversations, deep connections with others that we're feeling a lot of love and affection for in a positive way. So really nice start to the week with that. But like I said, Mercury is standing still, and on Tuesday, tomorrow, it will go retrograde in Scorpio. And I talked a lot about that, the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio on the monthly, October monthly forecast. And it's, like I said, in a really difficult part of the sky where the shadow world is very close to the physical world. So Mercury is the mind, and it's going to be influenced by a lot of shadow type energy while it's in Scorpio. And here it is going retrograde in Scorpio, so it's going to be a long extended period of time in Scorpio, a lot of time to process a lot of deep stuff that's coming up from us in our minds, and deep issues, deep psychological type stuff, depth study things. But the issue is it's Mercury retrograde though, and as we know, Mercury retrograde does really affect all of us on the planet. Mercury has so much to do with what we do every day: communications, information, moving around in short type ways, like short trip ways. So all those things, as always, are going to be affected by Mercury retrograde and slowed down. And in effect, you just have to assume that, things are not going to go exactly the way you plan. That, that you're either going to get a different result, or you're going to have to roll with the way things go and work with that instead. So like if you're traveling, you should basically be expecting delays. If you're trying to communicate with others, you can basically expect difficulties and misunderstandings. And you're collecting information, you can easily be misled. And let's think about with Scorpio too, in the communication department with Scorpio, what is most likely going to happen that will be affecting our communications is holding in secrets, not speaking some of the most secretive stuff that we're feeling to others. So this can create misunderstanding and the types of things that, Mercury retrograde therefore brings, where communications kind of break down. So, and also, the other part of it is, because it's that heavy Scorpio energy that's coming up, like the communication breakdowns that may occur may be because of just really intense energy between people in relationships, especially people that we're intimate with, like our families, our lovers, our best friends. Like some, serious stuff can come up and get us feeling really angry and resentful, and because of that familiarity breeding contempt concept, a lot of that can be like expressed to those who we are most intimate with and most comfortable with showing our shadow side to. So it can really, really affect those communications with those people, and it can be very difficult to feel good about where that stuff is, because a lot of deep psychological patterning occurs within those structures of family and lovers and close relationships and friends. So like that, the shit is like, basically coming to the surface, and that can really cause communications to break down, where you'll either shut down on people, or the communications is so like attacking, like that the points are being missed because everybody's battling and defensive. So basically that's how our communications will break down. Now, information also in Scorpio can't be trusted at all. It is the sign of propaganda. It is the sign of manipulation. It is the sign of, like, literally just trying to hypnotize others into, like, following the storyline. So we can expect, and, especially in the political climate we're in the United States pre-election, that just about all the information coming out is propaganda. And that's from both sides. It's not, no side is like at a higher moral ground at this point. They're both sinking into the morass of Scorpio, into the pits of hell, basically, that they've created for themselves. So, none of the information really that's coming out right now is information that's on the up and up, basically. It's deceptive, it's secretive, it's trying to cover up even deeper issues, and, that's basically what's going on when Mercury is retro in Scorpio. And then the travel thing, I would think, especially things that are related to water, air, wind, those are the things that might affect travel the most. So, and for example, the hurricane that just hit Texas is a real good example of that kind of energy, and how that would have the repercussions on travel that Mercury retrograde can bring. So you can expect all that stuff. It's through November 4th, which is the day after Election Day. So what I'd like to say about that right now is we won't know who the winner is on Election Day or anywhere close to it. We may have to, live out through the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde before we know who the winner is, which could take a couple weeks or so. But yeah, so, that's just showing once again the confusion, the craziness of the political climate right now here in the United States, anyway, if you're in the United States. And yeah, so till November 4th, we'll be in that retrograde pattern. Now, we've got a new moon this week, and it's on Friday at 24 degrees Libra. And what's interesting about this new moon is it's forming a Cardinal T-square with all the 3 Capricorn outer planets, and then Mars Eris conjunction in Aries. So like all week long, so a new moon, remember, is when the sun is conjunct the moon. So basically the sun is gonna, move all week and exactly aspect those planets, those 4 planets, and then the moon will join the sun on Friday in Libra, and also square the 3 Capricorn planets, and oppose Mars and Eris in Aries. And so basically all week long we have this new moon energy going on with this Cardinal T-square, because the sun is already locked into the Cardinal T-square and will be all week long, and then the moon will just join it on Friday and just boom, really, put it under the microscope. So as the week goes on, each day we're getting some of the aspects to the sun being exact. So it's a good way to kind of look how this will unfold. Like on Tuesday, the sun is opposite Mars, exact. So that is really, really like aggressive energy. It's really volatile energy, and it's really energy that's just tapped into itself, and it's very, very difficult to reach compromises with others, to work with others. It's highly egotistical energy, highly defensive reactions. The one nice thing is the sun is in Libra, which, definitely helps us to remember the other too. But in this case, the other can be really perceived more as the enemy or the one who's confronting us. So that's a lot of like high ego energy, and it's a lot of physical energy too. And really the best way, and possibly, there's many ways to manifest that, but really the best way to deal with this energy is to work on something yourself alone that is physical, because there's a lot of physical energy involved in this. And when there's all this kind of like angry churning energy, it's good to use that energy and direct it into something physical that you have to really be personally into too. It's not going to be something easy to deal with if you're having to do something you really don't want to do. That's just going to bring up more resentment and anger, and directing that out at other people. So that's definitely like a very volatile energy, one of the most highly egotistical aspects that goes on between 2 highly individualized planets or bodies. So Thursday, the sun does the exact square to Pluto. Now you'll remember on Sunday last week it did the exact square to Jupiter. So it's still an aspect to that Jupiter. Now it's exact to Pluto on Thursday. And I think this square is one of the key things to this whole new moon. And basically what it's going to do, it's going to challenge us to look at our lives and really ask us, like, is it working right for you? And it's going to find places where it's going to like look for weaknesses in our structure and the way we do things, to try to show us the patterns of behavior and the things that are holding us back. And the last thing we really want to do is try to hold on to those things, because if we do, we're traveling the road of self-destruction, and there's no one else to blame. You can try to blame society, you can try to blame this, that, or the other thing, you can try to blame other people, but it's not dealing with your own shadow. It's not dealing with things that may have worked well for you in the past, but are no longer working well for you. So like a purging is necessary, and it takes a psychological look within, that's the Pluto, and brutal honesty with yourself about behaviors that are not in your best interest anymore. And if you continue to follow those behaviors, you're creating your own road to hell. Letting go and purging allows new creative energy to spark and come and bring the power of rebirth and transformation. So that, I think, is really one of the most key things in this whole week and in the new moon energy, is to be responsible about that stuff. Stop projecting it out. Purge it. Allow the new in. Evolve. So by Friday, we reach the new moon, 24 degrees Libra. Okay? So the moon and sun are conjunct in Libra, and Libra is in search of harmony, balance, peace, beauty, justice, equality. It's all about the other. It's all about making things beautiful around you and harmonious in your environment so that we can calm down and relax. But it is going to be seriously challenged by this T-square. When Libra sometimes gets into its negative energy, it will declare war. And when it's opposing the Mars and Eris, Mars retrograde and Eris retrograde in Aries, you have to be careful about being too into wanting and getting our own way and creating dissension and distrust in relationships and making new enemies, basically. So instead, we have to really, let go of that stuff. And that's where that square to Pluto comes in, where it's look at your own shadow. Accept your own shadow. Do not project it onto the others and create an enemy, because Libra will fall for that in a negative way. And we see that going on politically in this country every day between two groups of people, two political groups that really need to look at their own shadows, all of us. And that's where the square to Saturn comes in. It's time to discipline yourself. Time to be real about what's going on and stop trying to think it's all about you and your self-gratification. It's really about, being disciplined and really having to hit this hard in order to change the structures in your life, which is what Saturn's all about, and the sun is your life. So once again, the sun and moon squaring Saturn are going to be showing you where you're falling short with your discipline, with your duty, and where you're going too far with it too, and becoming authoritarian, becoming a dictator, trying to control the narrative. And then the square to Jupiter is okay, so I've adopted values and beliefs that may no longer be working for me or need to be reassessed and adjusted and improved. And so the unfortunate side of this is that, when we're operating blindly, we're going to easily fall into creating an enemy in this situation instead, and blaming others, blaming circumstances, blaming situations for what we, the sun, have control over. So what's the solution to this new moon? Well, we look at the open end of the T-square first, and it's Cancer. So that would say nurturing others, taking care of others, allowing others to be themselves and not trying to drag them down or control them and live part of your life through them, but still offering each other a safety, a place where there's a home and a hearth and a family to come to. And we create that space within us for others, and they create that for us. And also, the ruler of the new moon is Venus actually, not involved with any of the T-square. Venus not really in the strongest position in Virgo, but what it's saying is, once again, it's people that we share ritualistic behavior with, that are the people that we need to connect with this Libra energy. People that are like sisterly and brotherly to us. Family, like that Cancer energy again. Virgo and Cancer sextile each other. So it's like bringing in that place of safety where everyone feels like part of some kind of like family or group that shares a similar behavior or ritualistic ideals. So there's a big challenge ahead with doing that, because the unfortunate thing is the energy's there, but humans are, have a free will to decide what to do with that energy, and there's many that are lost in that reactionary energy that Mars Eris is angry about being violated and wants revenge. You gotta let it go. Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter showing us all these weaknesses in the system, how we're compromising our values, compromising our discipline, compromising our own evolution because of patterns from the past that we're still attached to. Gotta let it all go. So, big work ahead. Sunday, the sun does the exact square to Saturn, and that'll be a time when we're really having to contemplate, what is our duty? What do we owe to others? What do we owe to ourselves? Where is the line of self-gratification versus duty? Where is that boundary? Where is that for you? And then also on Sunday, the Venus is opposite Neptune, which is a very interesting aspect, because it can have some amazing connections and moments with others where merging energy comes together like a soul union energy, and it can be romantic, it can be spiritual, it can be mystical, that energy, but it's also easy to be misled by others. Under Venus Neptune, it's easy to become a follower, and then the follower becomes a martyr, and then the martyr becomes a victim. So we're really going to have to discern each of our relationships this weekend coming up, and find out what is the real ones that are really fitting into the ideal that we're looking for, and what are the ones that are like trying to somehow deceive us and get control over us, make us kind of almost like a follower to that energy. And then the last thing I want to mention is it's that third square, retrograde square of Mars to the 3 Capricorn planets. So we had the Pluto one last week, and we had Saturn a couple weeks before that. So now it's the last square to Jupiter on Sunday. Super high energy. very optimistic, exuberant, but very imbalanced too. Too much impulsive action without being thought out enough. So use the energy well, but like try to use the Sun-Saturn square to pull it back in, and don't let Mars-Jupiter take off into a frenzy where it kind of can shoot itself in the foot. The funny thing about Mars-Jupiter is even after it shoots itself in the foot, it's still laughing and exuberant and optimistic. You can't really take that away from it. But like, it definitely needs the discipline of the Sun-Saturn square to pull it back a little, make it think a little bit, organize and plan the activity before you just jump into the, into the pile without your boots on. So that is going to be the third of those 3 retrograde squares to Mars. And then once Mars turns direct, it will start to go back towards those 3 squares again, and we'll get them one last time in December. So a lot of dynamic energy this week. It's a very powerful week. A lot of energy can be moved. A lot of new things can be started. A lot of purging is required to make room for that first. And a lot of connection can be made. But we need to get away from taking the easy road, the road most traveled. That's the road that's not working well anymore. It's a little too smooth, a little too easy to go down, a little too easy to fall back into your own old trip. Do the purging, find the new road, find the new connections, find the new place, inside and out, where you can make these connections and find that safer place for you and others, where you can feel that connection, that with groups that care and nurture one another, and try to bring that out to others around you and change that one by one. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. I'm available for all kinds of readings. My email is matthue823@gmail.com. Astrology beginner classes starting really soon. I'm working on putting it together right now. Should be within 2 or 3 weeks max. If you're interested, email me. Also, the blog is a free service, so please pass it on to anyone who you think would be interested in it, and that would be the best way you could pay me back. All right, until next week, this is the Astrological Winds channel. Matt Lawton signing off. Be well.